What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Big Time Football Talk. Today I want to break down the Notre Dame football preview. I know Notre Dame is a team that's really been very good, but it's just kind of it's a strong second tier program. They're just trying to get to that first tier. Notre Dame has shown a lot of good things, but 2018 they had that tremendous season, lost to Clemson in the college football playoff first round, and then last year they beat who they're supposed to be, then got blown out by Michigan. They also lost to Georgia in a game that they were kind of in it, but just, Georgia kind of really controlled that game. So, but, that was like and then it all starts with the quarterback position. Ian Book, one of the better quarterbacks in the country. Ian Book returns now for his third year as a starting quarterback, became the only Notre Dame quarterback to throw for 5 touchdowns in multiple games last year. It's too bad because a lot of the first few times I had seen Ian Book was against Clemson, where he didn't really play well. They didn't really play really well as a team. And then the other time I saw him was against Michigan last year in the blowout loss. And it was a rainy game, and Michigan really ran the ball well, and they controlled the line of scrimmage. That's how they kind of executed and won the game. But Ian Book, didn't really do a whole lot throwing the ball. But I like what I've seen from Book. He's looks pretty composed in the pocket, makes some good throws on the run, fairly accurate, strong arm. Fairly athletic guy, he's not a guy that's going to scramble, big scrambler, but, he's got the capability to do it. He's on pace to break Brady Quinn's career record for touchdown passes in a career. And the offensive line is going to be one of the strongest in the country, led by Liam Eichenberg. I know a lot of people have him as a consensus preseason All-American, one of the top tackle prospects for the 2021 NFL Draft. They will also return all 4 other starters on the offensive line, have a ton of experience there. I think returning offensive line play is huge, even though there's some other holes that I'll get to on Notre Dame. They lose some production elsewhere, but having a strong offensive line back is huge, and experienced quarterback is obviously huge too. But yeah, Eichenberg, a guy that struggled with some penalties a little bit last year. Hopefully he can clean those up, but he's a guy that has improved each year at Notre Dame. Brandon Lindsey is a guy I love at the wide receiver position. Not a super big guy, but boy, is he fast on those end arounds. Against USC, he had one of those end arounds where he was just gone and just blew by everyone. So Lindsey, they're a guy that's excited about, lose a lot of production at the wide receiver position and tight end. Claypool is gone, drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cole Kmet heads over to the Chicago Bears. I watched Kmet a lot. The more I saw of him, the more I really liked. I think Chicago's got a tremendous tight end, even though people question that pick in the second round for the Bears. I think they got them a heck of a player in Cole Kmet. The running back position, they lose Tony Jones Jr., but they do return Jafar Armstrong, will likely be the starter, a former 3-star recruit from the state of Texas. Defense, they brought in Clark Lee 2 years ago, and he has kept Notre Dame as 2 top 15 defense, done a tremendous job on the defensive side of the ball, which is huge. They do lose cornerback Troy Pry, 4th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers, lose Julio Aquara, 3rd-round pick to the Detroit Lions. Defensive line has some experience back. Marlon Tagoa Amusa returns a D-tackle, and Kurt Highness returns a nose tackle. Drew Wright is a guy that's really popped to me on film, a middle linebacker for Notre Dame, kind of the staple of that defense, a guy that's just a blue-collar, hard hitter, going to be that leader of the defense, former 3-star recruit from St. Thomas Aquinas, that powerhouse in Florida. Like what I've seen from Drew Wright, especially in that Georgia game. He was all over the field, makes some great open field tackles against DeAndre Swift, where he just kind of shot and just took a great angle. Made an outstanding tackle also in the USC game. Those are 2 key games I really zoned in on watching Drew Wright. Jeremiah Usamaya Carmoa is a guy that they really like to rush off the edge. 13.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. They use him a little bit in the corner. It just shows how athletic he is. He can go from he's listed out. They mostly play him at outside linebacker. They blitz him off the edge. They bring him out at corner. Very talented kid. He's going to be one of their key pieces on defense to get after the quarterback. Kyle Hamilton is a guy that's definitely a guy to watch. As a freshman last year, he had 4 interceptions, former 4-star prospect, 60th overall player in the country, respectively, according to 24/7 Composite. He's a guy with just tremendous ball skills. A lot of people around Notre Dame football think that he's got an NFL future. Tremendous player. Love what I've seen out of Hamilton. Pick 6 against New Mexico. Game-sealing interception against Virginia Tech. Hamilton is definitely a guy to watch out for as one of the breakout sophomores in college football next year. Or not even breakout, just a guy that could take his game even to a next level and get on the national radar. But like I said, Notre Dame is a strong second-tier team. They're just trying to break to that first-tier team. You've seen it. You know, Notre Dame has been, they've gotten there. And 2012, I think Notre Dame's further off than they were from there. 2012, they went 12-0, and it was just like there was a lot of lucky games, luck of the Irish. And then, a couple years ago when they played Clemson, the team that went on to win the national title, it just was, they looked more competitive, but it just like they were closer, but still not quite there. Notre Dame is a place that is hard to recruit. National schedule, you don't have a conference. They're a tough place to coach, I should say. You don't have a conference title. It's national title or bust, basically. You got to recruit a national recruiting base. You got to travel across the country. I mean, some kids are about that, some not as much about that. But they're a team that really starts off recruiting well, and then towards the end, they lose some guys for whatever reason. Usually always in the top 10 to 15 for recruiting, but they want to, they would hope to do better, but it's just tough because I don't know. You're selling to a lot of kids that you have to really sell a belief that you're going to win a national title each year. And, it's something that hasn't been done for a few years now at Notre Dame. I say a few years. What has it been? 15, 20 years, 20 plus years. But in the schedule, not super bad, but there's 3 key games on that schedule versus Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, October 7th, versus Clemson, November 7th, and then at USC, November 28th. Wisconsin game should be a real telling game early on to see what kind of team Notre Dame is this year. And then versus Clemson is obviously that to show their improvement, see if they're moving closer to that Tier 1 team. And then at USC, a rivalry game away at California. So schedule a little tougher for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, but almost play like an ACC schedule. I think there's a stretch where they have like Louisville, Duke, Clemson. I think it's like 4 straight ACC games in a row or something like that. But yeah, Notre Dame is their team that I can see is just they're trying to get the more. They just need to keep building the talent. Like I've talked about, Brian Kelly I think is an underrated coach. All the NFL players they've produced at Notre Dame, especially on the offensive line, I've always been just astonished of, and tight end also. Kyle Rudolph. Who else they had? Tyler Eifert, Quentin Nelson, Ronnie Stanley, Jalen Smith. A lot of NFL players have low-key came from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and it's really impressed me. Brian Kelly is a guy, Grand Valley State, Central Michigan, Cincinnati. He's a guy that's been doing it for a while. Now, believe it or not, is what is this now? Heads into his 10th year for Notre Dame already, believe it or not. I remember it just seemed like it wasn't that long ago when they just hired Brian Kelly in. But, yep. Thank you guys for your comments and likes and support on Big Time Football Talk. The videos aren't going to be as coming as frequently, but I'm just grinding out film, getting you guys the best content I possibly can. I don't want it to be like these any other channels that just do stupid schedule previews. I'm getting you in-depth analysis. So when your favorite team comes around, I will have watched as much film and put in the hours to give you a great in-depth breakdown that you guys deserve. That's what's going to separate this channel from the rest. Also, I'm just getting straight to the talk. You know how I do that. Straight to the talk, no bull crap, no life advice, no talk about whatever, no trying to do stupid, corny jokes. You know how Big Time Football Talk rolls here. So, Thanks for tuning in to Big Time Football Talk. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Big Time Football 1L5, and make sure to subscribe. So drop a like. Let's try to get 15 likes on this video. Until next time, peace.